Now, when you were in school, you learned about the autonomic nervous system, and you learned that the sympathetic was the gas and the parasympathetic was the brake, and this is a really boring oversimplification of what's actually happening. And in fact, Porges expanded that to say, well, yeah, but all of these are tonically active. It's never like one is off and one is on. We'd be dead if that were the case. So what Porges did is he split the vagus into two different divisions, into ventral and dorsal, okay? Now, and sympathetic, of course, everybody knows, fight or flight, sympathetic, daytime alertness, it goes to smooth muscles and organs. I'll remind you at all times, this is all happening below the level of perceptual awareness, right? Everything that's happening. When you jump to the sound of screeching tires, your brain detects a threat. It creates a physiological flood in your body. Amygdala comes on, floods the body with adrenaline and cortisol hormones surging through your body. Change in physiology, behavior, jump. Whoa, I just jumped. You already jumped. Same thing happens when you see someone you love and it makes you smile. It's not like you see them and then smile, right? No, you see them. That social connection creates this warm, loving feeling. You've already smiled and you're feeling yummy and you think, I love them. Brain, physiology, behavior, emotion, and then you make up a story about it. That's the recipe. These different branches, the ventral vagal has 5 different divisions, and it innervates, really important for heart rate variability and what happens with respiration, but it also innervates the muscles of facial expression, the incontrollable smiling thing that we have. Like when you meet somebody and they have a warm, loving smile, you have a yummy feeling in your body. If you meet somebody and they look like an angry mofo, what do you feel in your body? You don't feel warm and loving. You feel like, ooh, his problem. Your body has a physiological response. That's happening below the level of perceptual awareness. Again, this is not theoretical. This is all proven. We have fMRIs that actually show that, prove that experience of trauma being stored in the body. When we look at functional connectivity studies, it literally shows actually trauma gets encoded in a physiological response that gets stuck in our body. It's what makes us sick. 7 of the 10 leading causes of death have the basic underlying factor of increased inflammation. We call it lifestyle disease. That's bullshit. It's actually a regulation problem. And I would argue as chiropractors, you're the best regulation experts on the planet. Should you choose to use the language, that's how you will be used. When you hear a sound as pleasing, like a baby's hearing the sound of the mother's voice, those are muscles in the inner ear controlled by ventral vagus. Autistic kids don't hear the sound of their mother's voice as rewarding because the amygdala hijacks the vagus, and the parts of the auditory cortex that are responsible for translating hearing to the reward centers in the brain are not connected. They also have what? Flattened affect, vagus. They don't want to make what? Eye contact, vagus. They also don't want to talk. They have sound hypersensitivity. This is all vagally related.